This is Adam Green from the Miami Valley School, and this is my AP US History Unit 2 video, The United States Identity Crisis. So this unit covers the years 1776 to 1860 and chronicles the building of the new nation. Following the United States' perceived victory of the War of 1812 against the British came a heightened sense of nationalism. This positive mood manifested itself in everything from literature to manufacturing to finance. A revived Bank of the United States was voted for by Congress in 1816, and even the Army and Navy were expanded. This post-1812 time period was called the Era of Good Feelings. But this nascent nationalism was crushed by the eventual economic panic of 1819, which was actually caused by over-speculation in the frontier lands by, yes, the same Bank of the United States, which was just voted for a few years prior. In the same year, sectional tensions were revealed as Missouri knocked on the doors of Congress as a slave state. Missouri ended up as an unrestricted slave state, and the North won the concession that Congress could forbid slavery in the remaining territories. But neither the North nor South was totally happy about this Missouri Compromise. Thomas Jefferson felt uneasy about the situation, saying that, quote, "Missouri Compromise is the most portentous one which ever yet threatened our Union." He realized the crystallizing sectionalism between North and South, despite earlier nationalistic fervor. And what do you know? The embittered dispute over slavery heralded the future breakup of the Union, which culminated in the Civil War. But I wonder, do we still feel the reverberations of the Civil War in our sectionalized values and traditions? Did the upsurge of nationalism post-war of 1812 cause the U.S. to overstretch itself and actually lead us to disunion? Another issue at this time was the menace of monarchy in America. Lots of democratic revolutions were going on, especially in Latin America, but most of them were promptly smothered by the European despots. Many Americans were alarmed. Naturally sympathetic to democratic revolutions, they had cheered when the Latin American republics rose from the ruins of monarchy. But the Americans feared that if the European powers intervened in the New World, the cause of republicanism would suffer irreparable harm. The United States was approached by the British with a startling proposition. Would the United States combine with the British to join in a joint declaration renouncing any interest in acquiring Latin American territory, and specifically warning the European despots to keep their hands off the Latin American republics? This question really forced the United States to consider its foreign policy going into the future. And this question was answered by the Monroe Doctrine, a direct expression of the post-1812 nationalism energizing the United States. It issued a stern warning to the European powers, as the United States acted as if they had a massive army and navy to back it all up, which they really didn't. Its two main focuses were non-colonization and non-intervention. However, Monroe's solemn warning, when issued, made little splash in the newborn republics to the south. In truth, Monroe's message did not have much contemporary significance, but as Kennedy and Cohen write, the doctrine proved to be the most famous of all the long-lived offspring of that nationalism. While giving voice to the spirit of patriotism, it simultaneously deepened that illusion of isolationism. Now you're probably wondering, if the Monroe Doctrine didn't have any contemporary impact at the time, did it have the impact on later foreign policy? Well, in 1902, European intervention in Latin America resurfaced. And when faced with this, President Theodore Roosevelt, issued his corollary to the Monroe Doctrine in 1904. It said that in the flagrant cases of wrongdoing or impotence, the U.S. can disregard the Monroe Doctrine and act as an international police power. Roosevelt's corollary was a gut check for the United States. It questioned what role are we supposed to play on the international stage, and actually served as justification for U.S. intervention into Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. But this goes directly against one of our core diplomatic principles our country is founded upon. In his farewell speech, George Washington warned in regards to foreign policy that our country needs to, quote, "gain time to settle and mature its yet recent institutions, and to progress without interruption to that degree of strength and consistency which is necessary to give it the command of its own fortunes." In essence, we should be able to fend for ourselves as a country and not become too dependent on another nation, nor form any entangling alliances. But Roosevelt strayed away from this, and focused a bit too much on carrying a big stick and not enough on speaking softly. However, even today, we've lost command of our fortune. In 1982, industry made up 67% of the companies included in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, but today they represent only 30%. We have outsourced so much of our manufacturing industry to other nations that many Americans are without jobs. The tempestuous history the American ship of state has faced has caused us to have an identity crisis. We need to find a middle ground between the isolationism of the Monroe Doctrine and acting as a world police force, as under Roosevelt's corollary. Both were an assertion of U.S. power, but today in an increasingly globalized world, neither option is really plausible. We must define who we are as a nation, and all the while we must not let internal differences divide us, as what happened during the Civil War. As 19th century French observer Alexis de Tocqueville concluded, the U.S. uniquely was proceeding along a path to which no limit can be perceived. The real question we'll soon be forced to answer is, where is that path headed?